Hi, this is Yvonne McNary, and I'm at the Marion County Extension Office with Danielle Ford. Good morning, Danielle.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing really well. We have our calendar.
Yes, yes. We're back to the calendar this month.
Back to the calendar this month. And what a great dish we're going to have today.
It is. It's Parmesan chicken. It's the April recipe of the month, and we have made it in several of our classes and rave reviews. Everyone loves it. So.
Wow. Well, when I think Parmesan chicken, I think Italiano,
Yes,
Parmesan,
yes.
To
And the best
Italian
thing
restaurants.
about this, depending on how much Italian seasoning you like, you can tailor it to your own needs, not put as much in it. It is quite a bit though, but you have that wonderful aroma. If you can only smell it at home,
Smell-o-vision.
you're gonna love it once it does come out of the oven.
Okay.
So.
Well, why don't you tell us about the recipe?
Oh, it's super simple. All it takes is garlic powder, onion powder, Italian seasoning, Parmesan cheese, and boneless chicken breast.
Okay, boneless chicken breast.
Yes, and I'm using fresh today. I generally have the frozen in the freezer. I usually buy the tenderloins because that's about the amount of chicken I usually eat. You can do a chicken breast and then just cut it to your needs. So,
Okay.
very simple.
Okay. Well, let's get started.
Okay. Well, generally, especially with working with chicken, you always run the risk of salmonella. So cross-contamination is a big deal. So I usually have out my handy gloves in dealing with this just because it's one less thing I have to worry about. But if you do use it with your raw hands, the raw chicken, soap and water. No hand sanitizer will cut it. Surfaces, any type of utensils, everything that the chicken touches, you need to make sure you clean.
Oh, okay.
Especially before and after, definitely. So. Important too, if you use a big chicken breast and you cut it down, cutting mats need to be cleaned especially. As you can see, this one, lots and lots of nicks in it, and the bacteria can harbor in there. So always use fresh mats. We at the office here, when you do classes with us, we get reinforcement items. So sometimes we give out cutting boards. Well, we have green that we try to emphasize for fruits and vegetables, and red is for meat only, chicken, beef, whatever you have, turkey. Try to designate between the two. But if they do truly have the cuts and scrapes, time to discard those and get new ones too. So just a little word of the wise. So I'm going to do a half a cup of the Parmesan grated cheese. I just bought the packaged cheese, and we're going to put it into this little container here. Just a little pie dish to make it easy. And then it's going to do my garlic powder. I'm going to need 2 teaspoons. Just going to pour that in there, kind of sprinkle it around. And if you don't like that much garlic, you can lessen that as well too. Now to our onion powder, it's only going to take 1 teaspoon. And this too, I think, offsets that garlicky flavor, but you still get a good aromatic dish.
Yeah. I'm getting a good dose of it right now.
It is kind of strong, isn't it? So here is our Italian seasoning. Sometimes you'll see it packaged in little pouches. We just grabbed this, and it's the off-brand, of course. The smell is just as strong as anything you would see. So this will take 3 teaspoons. So, of course, if you don't like that much Italian seasoning, you do not have to put the whole thing. And right there, to me, that would be sufficient for me. But it calls for 3, so we'll do what the recipe is saying. Just kind of spread it around. And I've already preheated my oven to 350 degrees. So that's an important thing. Go ahead, get that going before you get started. It doesn't take long to get this going, so if you kind of get that out of the way, that's a good thing. So here's my little pie dish with all my cheese and my special spices here.
Oh, that looks good.
And that's all we have to do. I have sprayed my pan here, my baking dish that I'm going to do. And so now I have my chicken. Those out of the way, just a hair. There we go. So it says to coat your chicken with your cooking spray. Then we're going to put it in our cheese mixture, roll it around, and then put it in our dish. So very simple, and this is something for the kids to do, but if you have kids involved with the chicken, please put gloves on them. I think that would be your better bet with the children. So I'm going to use one hand with the chicken and then one with my cooking spray. Okay, so just going to spray it around, kind of coat it a little bit, and then I'm going to roll it in my chicken mixture here.
Well, I can see the kids would really love doing this.
They do love it.
Especially spraying.
Yes, the spray will get everywhere. Just be careful, don't get it on the floor and you'll trip. So I'm trying to not to cross-contaminate with my gloves even on. And so it takes about 1.5 pounds of the chicken.
And like you said, you don't have to make it as strong as
You don't.
as the recipe.
If you like more cheese, you can add more cheese. That's the best part about it. It may be too much for someone, but the flavoring is so
I know
good.
sometimes kids don't like strong flavoring.
They don't. They really don't. But they love getting messy, and so.
But it all looks very easy. And all the ingredients, all the herbs can be bought locally.
They can be. We didn't have trouble finding anything. And we generally buy a generic brand just for save on costs for different programs as much as we do it with. And we don't see any difference, honestly.
Okay, so it all works just about the same.
Yes, and that makes a difference too, because you always worry whether they're going to taste a little different being an off-brand, but they honestly don't.
So we've got our mixture together, and we're rolling our
almost done.
we're spraying our chicken.
Spraying it with some cooking
How often
oil.
do you spray your chicken? You know, and we're spraying this chicken, and we're rolling it in the cheese and the spices.
Yes.
And I've got a feeling this is going to be wonderful.
Oh, it is. You can smell it out through the hallway when this is made. But
There'll be people outside in the hallway.
we
wondering what's going
have.
on.
They will kind of probably pop their head in to see what we're doing in here.
Yeah.
And it makes it nice too. Something you can come home to, a good smell. But we have made this with adults and kids and rave reviews, so it's just as simple as that. Now, you may have leftover cheese, discard it all. Do not save any of that back since it has touched the raw chicken. All right, and that's all you do until we're going to pop it in the oven.
Okay. Well, I tell you what, when we come back, we're going to have some wonderful Parmesan chicken. Well, we're back with our Parmesan chicken. First of all, let's go over that recipe for a Parmesan chicken.
Sure. It's 2 teaspoons of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of onion powder, 3 teaspoons of Italian seasoning, a half a cup of Parmesan cheese, and 1.5 pounds of split, boneless, skinless chicken breast or strips.
Okay. Wow, this looks delicious.
It does look delicious, and it smells amazing.
I
So
love this world. Yeah, I'm going to have you hold this.
Sure.
Hold that for me right there.
that's a big job.
Yes. And I'm going to go ahead and try the chicken because it smells wonderful.
It does smell really good, and it's really light too, I think. We have paired it with just a little salad and then a little mixture of vegetables. So just give a little color to it. We added some fruit and, of course, a glass of milk. But it's really simple to make. It cooks in a 350-degree oven for 30 minutes. Very, very simple to make.
And it was right at 30 minutes, too.
It was, so it didn't take long at all. Now, if you have bigger, I would say, chicken breasts or something like that, it may cook a little longer. But of course, with chicken, make sure it cooks to the proper internal temperature, and that you want to make sure it's in the thickest part of the chicken, which is 165 degrees. Okay. So definitely use your meat thermometer, and don't put it back after you use it. Make sure you properly clean and sterilize it. And also here at the office, we have these lovely little magnets that give you the exact temperatures of different meats and stuff. So if you want one, stop by the office and pick one up. We have plenty of those as well. I'll have some up front for you. And of course, we still have plenty of our yearly calendars that we cook from every month. This, of course, is the April recipe Parmesan chicken. And we also have our Chop Chop books. So lots of recipes going around if you are in the market for some.
Okay, now give us a little bit of information about the nutrition for this for the Parmesan chicken.
Sure, it's only of course it makes 6 serving sizes, which is about 4 ounces of chicken. But as far as that, 2 pieces is probably sufficient enough for a serving for this amount. Cost per recipe is $6.79. Which is not bad at all considering. And then cost per serving, $1.13. So not bad at all. 170 calories, 5 grams of fat, 1.5 gram of saturated fat, no trans fat. You, of course, get your 6% of daily iron, 6% of calcium, and, of course, 28 grams of protein. So a great option for a protein to have as well.
Wow, very good for you.
And it does have a little bit of sodium. That, of course, you're using with your seasonings, too. So you can eliminate that, too. And sometimes your cheese has a little bit of sodium in it. So
the garnishes on this, or the additions to it to make it Parmesan chicken, you can make some options with.
Most
you have options
definitely,
with that,
yes.
right?
And you always want to cut back. Now, this is an older recipe that has been in a previous year's calendar. They just have eliminated it so this is your lower sodium recipe
Okay.
compared to the previous one, if you have an older calendar around. So they did try to cut back on that, but if you need to cut back anymore, you can always eliminate several other things. So maybe eliminate
the
the
garlic
onion
powder.
powder, just do one instead of both,
Yeah.
possibly, or cut back on your Italian seasoning, so.
Okay. And if you have kids who don't like one
Right.
cheese or the other, you can substitute cheeses
Oh,
as well,
most
right?
definitely. If you have a preference instead of the Parmesan cheese, it just kind of adds to the flavor with it, but it will not take away if you change out the cheese, so.
Okay.
And
That's-
always use what you have on hand too. So don't go out to the store to buy something extra when you can kind of make do with what you have at home. So
And everything here was bought locally?
it was. It really was.
Okay.
So.
Now, are there any, well, let's go over those safety issues with that chicken again.
Oh yes. So of course, always before you get into your chicken, wipe down your countertops with a bacterial disinfectant solution. If you're going to thaw out your chicken, if it's frozen, thaw it only in the fridge. Don't set it on the counter and let it set for a couple hours. Don't set it in your sink and let it thaw out there. Or if you buy fresh, leave it in the container until you get ready to use it. So of course, too, anything that touches it, your silverware, your dishes that you're processing the raw chicken in, make sure that's thoroughly cleaned. If you use a cutting board, make sure you use the one designated that you use for meats. And if there are no scratches on it, that way it will not harbor bacteria. And wash your hands, I can't stress it enough.
Yeah.
Under the fingernails, soap and water, no hand sanitizer. And then anything that touched the raw chicken, make sure that's definitely washed thoroughly, dried. And then you clean your surface again too with that antibacterial solution. So you're not, because cross-contamination, oh, it's just so easily done. And then you don't realize it, and then someone gets sick, and then a lot can be avoided just by clean hand hygiene and practices.
Okay. Now, if any of our viewers need to contact you with any questions, how can you be reached?
Oh, I'm at the Marion County Extension Office at 270-692-2421.
Okay.
And stop by definitely to get one of these temperature magnets, calendars, and our Chop Top books. We would love to see you.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for this recipe. It
Thank
tastes
you.
delicious, and I want all of our viewers to try this because it really is good, and it really did take only about 30 minutes for it to be cooked. So for any of you parents who come home from work and you're in a hurry and you have hungry kids, this might be the recipe for you. This might be your standby for those days. Again, thank you, Danielle.
Well, thank you for having me.
Okay. This has been Yvonne McNary for Central Kentucky Television.